Tonight, fresh details emerge about police case against Fix the Country convener Oliver Barker-Vormawor, with court documents detailing how he arrived in Ghana to allegedly execute his intention to overthrow the Akufo-Addo government. Mr. Vormawor will spend the next 2 weeks behind bars, charged with treason felony.
Akufo-Addo is the father of the land, and if indeed Akufo-Addo acquire us all as fellow Ghanaians, we have risen, and all we are saying is justice must be served. Straight to the police station. We need to be there. Oliver needs to be granted the.
We have exclusive details from court documents as the Fix the Country convener continues a third day of a hunger strike to protest his arrest.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone and Prime Insurance. We are learning more about police evidence against Fix the Country convener Oliver Barker-Vormawor, who is tonight beginning 2 weeks behind bars, charged with treason felony. Court documents secured by Joy News allege that Mr. Vormawor had flown from UK to Ghana to execute his intention to overthrow the government of President Akufo-Addo. He was arrested on Friday afternoon when he touched down here in Ghana at the Kotoka International Airport. He has since been on a hunger strike, which enters the third day to protest his arrest and subsequent detention. We'll get more from his close associates pretty shortly. But first, court correspondent Joseph Akable has been following this story, was in court and joins me via Zoom right now. Joseph, the court documents we have secured claim that Oliver, quote, sometime in February this year, prepared to undertake any unlawful means an enterprise which usurps the executive powers of the government of Ghana. Now, we are for the first time seeing the details of the facts that the police have put before the court. Give us details.
So I'll just directly read what the fact states. It indicates that the accused person is a lawyer and convener of the social movement, namely Fix the Country. It says that sometime in February 2022, the assignment police received a report, and it goes on to say that they received a report that the accused person was inciting some persons believing to be members of the Fix the Country movement. That on receipt of the report, the police mounted a surveillance on the accused person until his arrest at Kotoka International Airport on Friday, February 11, 2022, when he arrived from the United Kingdom. Preliminary investigations has revealed that the accused is a lawyer and a PhD student at Cambridge University, UK. It has also been established during investigation that the accused for some time now has been inciting some group of persons through social media to undertake an unlawful enterprise to usurp the executive powers of the government of Ghana. Pursuant to this preparation to usurp the executive powers of the government of Ghana, accused further published on his Facebook wall that the Ghana army is useless and went ahead to declare his intention in a Facebook post to stage a coup if the electronic transaction levy is passed by Parliament. Now, the conclusion is very interesting, Evans. It says here that investigation also revealed that the said e-levy bill is currently before Parliament and that the accused arrival in the country was in furtherance of his intention to stage a coup as declared by him. And it states that investigation continues.
I see. So the police somehow believe, or will definitely have to produce evidence in court to support what they claim is his intention, purposely to arrive in Ghana to execute that intention that he claim stated on his Facebook page to overthrow the government. But today we got a first glimpse at who the key individuals who are representing Oliver are, and some very interesting legal brains are behind his legal team.
And I think let's focus on the leader of the legal team. The legal team is headed by Akoto Ampao. Most recently, he was a lead counsel for President Akufo-Addo during the 2020-2021 election petition. In terms of, so he's the one leading the legal team. He has been an activist of rights for many years, and you recall him in terms of the RTI coalition, the push for the Right to Information Law to be passed. He was one of the advocates. He was part of the coalition making suggestions about that law being passed. He has been a defender of rights as well in terms of media freedom, free speech, and quite recently, if you remember the discussions around the Proper Human Sexual Values Bill, you recall he's part of a team of individuals that actually presented a memorandum to Parliament, making a strong case as to how, if that law is passed, it infringes upon human rights. And final point worth noting is that he works in the president's law firm. This is a law firm founded by President Akufo-Addo, that is Akufo-Addo Prempeh and Co.
I mean, and we know at the the election petition, Akoto Ampao was the president's lawyer, and you just mentioned, in fact, he works in a law firm that the president himself founded. The interesting thing to note about this is the allegation against Oliver, for which reason he's been charged with treason felony, is that Oliver was conspiring or had an enterprise to overthrow President Akufo-Addo as president. That same individual that Akoto Ampao defended, of course, at the Supreme Court, and many will say, I mean, President Akufo-Addo owes his continuous, stay in office largely to him because he really fought hard, and of course, the president won the case. And so the irony there is the man who worked so hard as a lawyer to ensure the president, stays in office, is a man who is defending Oliver, accused of conspiring to overthrow the president. That throws up a very interesting, scenario going forward in this particular case. But we know the issue of his detention beyond 48 hours came up. How was it resolved?
In fact, that issue was first raised by Bafo Jehu Ashia. He's also a member of Mr. Bakavoma's legal team. And so he had made the case that he ought to have been brought to court yesterday. And so if they are bringing him to court today, it would have meant that they've kept him beyond the 48 hours. The response that came from DSP Sylvester Asari, who led the state's prosecution today, was that even if they arrested him at 10 p.m. on Friday, at that point, Mr. Voma actually wanted to speak in the courtroom, and a judge did indicate to him that he could not speak and that the lawyer should speak for him. But DSP Asari considered that whatever time on Friday that they arrested him, on Saturday, he explains that they wrote a letter and dispatched it to the Chief Justice's office to ask that the Chief Justice makes provision to ensure that there's a court available to hear the matter over the weekend. He says they couldn't meet the Chief Justice and they tried to use other means to ensure that the court is put in place to hear this particular matter. And he says that proved unsuccessful. So that is how come they had no option but to bring him to court on Monday. The argument that Mr. Akoto Ampao then made at that point in time was that, well, if you couldn't get a court for him, it meant that bringing him to court today was actually illegal because the law as interpreted by the Supreme Court is quite clear that 48 hours means 48 hours. And so the court should proceed on the basis of the circumstance of this particular matter to discharge Mr. Bakavomao. But the judge took the view that this matter, the nature of the crime, is one that the district court could not grant bail, and so she turned down the request. She, however, gave an interesting order. The order is that she says between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., they should allow Mr. Barker to always have conference with his legal team. Again, 3 family members will be permitted within this period to see him when they want to do so. And so that is how the issue about the detention beyond the 48 hours was dealt with.
And there are other reports tonight, notably from Graphic, that they've managed to get a quote from lawyer Akoto Ampao, who is describing the charge against his client, Oliver Bakavomawo, as cynical and in bad faith. And in a quote attributed to him by the Graphic says, until this morning, which is Monday, it was a misdemeanor, only to appear in court and be told he's being charged with treason felony, which has no factual basis, he had told the Graphic. Now, we have seen images of Mr. Vomawo in handcuffs. How did he look and behave in court today, Joseph?
I think pensive is the best word that can capture how his demeanor was. So, I mean, when he got down from the police van, and Evans, I must say, I don't recall in recent times such heavy security presence I mean, especially when an accused person is just one person. The policemen that were in the crowd control van within that, when he alighted, I could count more than 10 of them. There were motorbikes, some on dispatch bikes that had blocked various streets, among other things. So when he came down, he was very calm. He lifted his two hands up. He was handcuffed and lifted his two hands up. I'm sure we've all seen those images on social media. When he was in the courtroom, he put his two hands on the wooden surface where he was being held. At various points, he shook his head, especially when the claim was being made that he had been arrested at 10 p.m. on Friday. He actually wanted to speak at that point in time. He was signaled to be calm and that his lawyers are around and they will speak on his behalf. In between, I could see him turn and look back at the crowd and those who had come over to lend their support to him. And so it's that of being very pensive is the best word I could use to describe how he carried himself throughout today.
And don't forget, Oliver himself is a convener of a group, of a movement, the Fix the Country movement. Many of those who are part of that movement that started mainly on Twitter were there at the court today to solidarize with him.
If justice is not served, most of this land rise. Everybody deserves the same treatment as a country.
We want a new Ghana. That's the only thing we are asking for. A new Ghana.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. It is very devastating what is happening in the country now. Ghana is a democratic country. We all admit to that fact. But what is happening now, Ghana is turning to be a banana republic. What is happening now is too much, okay? And the youth of Ghana, you can see from the people that Ghana is rising. The youth of this country are saying they are not happy with whatever that is going on. Akufo-Addo is the father of the land. And if indeed Akufo-Addo call us all as fellow Ghanaians, we have risen. And all we are saying is justice must be served. Coup does not mean you are going to vote against the government. They should go to the constitution, the dictionary, and check the meaning of coup. He never said he's going to organize a military coup. Oliver Barker is not a military officer. Oliver has never had any military training anywhere. He just made a comment that he is going to organize an e-coup. What is e-coup, Mr. Bawumia? Which comments, Mr. President, haven't you heard in this country?
He said.
You said it yourself. What is the meaning of all die be die, Mr. President? What is happening now in this country is sending this country in a ditch.
Based on social media, you can use social media to judge someone. Because the state, some of them send the message, you know. Ebia, I'm influencer, Ebia, I'm Mabo, Ebia, Manomsa, Ebia, drug addict, collaborate me, I send the message. And this, Mr. IGP, say IGP, echo basic only on social media, any over Jumaya.
Sure, thank you.
Because
thank you. So thank you.
The state about sending message, you know. Who needs situation pakro Ebia no abo.
And Joseph will stay with me because we'll give you a certain historical context to this particular charge of treason felony. This is not the first time it's happened in recent years, pretty shortly. But as we know, Oliver Baker-Vormawor has been on hunger strike since he was arrested Friday evening. Felicity Nelson is a colleague of his at Fix the Country, and she joins me on the telephone line right now. Felicity, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Hi, good evening.
I mean, how's your friend and colleague doing?
He's okay. He's fine.
I mean, is he still on hunger strike? Do we know that?
Yes, he is still on hunger strike. But he's taking in fluids. He's just not taking in food. I'm
pretty sure you've been in touch with him since he was again remanded today. What is he telling you? If you have been in touch with him, in terms of his relationship with Fix the Country, whilst he's going to spend the next 2 weeks, your reaction to how this panned out today?
Well, I guess he's not really surprised. He's not surprised this happened. To be honest, I think he's quite prepared for this because we've seen this happen many times, you know. So, and if you look at the trajectory, the fact that they didn't put him, they ensured they kept him in all weekend, Even on Saturday, the police released a statement, Saturday around 5 a.m. or so, saying that they're going to take him to court on Monday. So they had already planned to ensure they were going to break that 48-hour rule. So once the police start on that, on that tangent, you already know that they're ready to break the rules and infringe upon your rights. This was the same police who had kept him in custody for over 26 hours without allowing him to establish any contact or seek any legal counsel. So you already know that these are people who are ready to infringe upon your rights. So I don't think he's surprised about what happened today.
I mean, so as far as you're concerned and your colleagues in the Fix the Country, you think this is an abuse of his rights?
Absolutely, definitely. It's definitely overkill. You write a post on Facebook and then you're being charged for treason. And if the police are acting in good faith, why is it that as at yesterday evening, the lawyers were at the police station? They said they were charging him for a misdemeanor. Yet when they got to court today, they changed it to a felony. What changed overnight? Why were the lawyers not informed so they can prepare for that? Do you understand? So already the police are not being straight. And you have to ask yourself, why they're not being straight? What is it that they're trying to achieve here? Because they're acting in bad faith, and it doesn't instill confidence in the police in their ability to treat Oliver, and not just him, and other people fairly in general.
I mean, I'm sure you've come across those who ask this question, and they point to his post. What do you say to those who've seen these posts and they're still on his timeline? If this e-levy process,
but the post is open to interpretation.
Yes, I mean, but that's the thing, right?
And the police's interpretation of that post does not make it factual.
So, for example, in one of them, if this e-levy passes after this cake BS, I will do the coup myself. Then he says useless army, which is directly captured as part of the case against him.
Yeah.
Then he also says, long live Ghana, Guinea, Mali Union. I will vote for any party that proposes a credible plan to restore the project to Unity Africa. I welcome the news of an ongoing coup in Guinea-Bissau. I want to remind all that in Ghanaian constitutional law, only successful coups are legal. These can be rights, come with responsibility. Some will point to this and say these are reckless comments.
As individual posts, right? So the one about, let's remind Ghanaians that in Ghana only successful coups are legal. Is that true or is that false? Is that true or is that false? That has been the case. Every time a coup has been it's been successful, it has legitimized their position, right? So this is not a false statement. Him welcoming the news of the coup in Guinea, the people of Guinea were rejoicing. Like, who is Oliver to be upset at there being a coup in Guinea when the people who live in that land are the ones rejoicing? I don't understand. Why is that such a bad thing if the people there, so are the people who live in Guinea, who are members of Guinean society, who have decided that there's a coup and they're happy about it? Why is that a bad thing? Why is his support of that a bad thing? And how does that in any way mean that it means he wants to conduct a coup here?
And what about when he says if the e-levy passes after the cake beers, he will do the coup himself, and it ends with useless army? That is reckless, isn't it?
I wouldn't call that post reckless. That again is your opinion of it, and I said that post is open to interpretation. So maybe we can seek further interpretation, but the police's interpretation of that post does not make it a fact. It's not factual. That's their personal opinions. They're making these opinions and their judgment calls. And if you look at the charge of treason, these posts on their own, would they be enough to convict someone for treason? We'll have to see. Because if you look at the definition of treason, it's talking about violence. It's talking about, so you write a Facebook post and that amounts to treason.
I mean, if what you say is indeed the way Oliver sees it, then the courtroom is the best place for him, at least to explain himself and get the court of competent jurisdiction to understand the context.
He is in court, so I don't understand. Is he not in court now? Like, Oliver wrote these posts. He announced the fact that he was coming to Ghana, because he had some meetings tomorrow. He announced all of these things on Facebook. It doesn't sound like someone, if you want to do a coup, how sensible will it be to announce it on your Facebook page? Like it's ridiculous for anyone to think someone's going to do a coup and they're going to announce it on their Facebook page before they start making plans, and then they come to the country, tell you they're coming. You know, he could have snuck into the country, but he decided to do a post. Over the last, you can look on his wall, since May last year, there's never been a time that when Oliver's coming to Ghana that he's announced on Facebook that he's coming to Ghana. This was literally the first time that he's done that. So clearly, he's goading you. And if you see someone telling you they're going to come to Ghana and then they come and then you swoop them, I just feel like if someone's going to do something as serious as a coup, they're not going to write about it on Facebook, and they're definitely not going to tell you tell you about the fact that they have plans of coming into the country. You know, the whole thing is ridiculous.
I saw many of the Fix the Country, sympathizers today at the court to solidarize with him as a movement. Are there plans to show your solidarity in other forms beyond showing up in court when court dates are due?
Well, me having this conversation now is one form of showing solidarity. You know, raising funds for the legal fees is one form of showing solidarity. People who are able to go to court. There's people who support Fix the Country who are not in Ghana at all, and they contribute their ideas. They write. They can even people writing on their Facebook post and exposing what's happening is all forms of solidarity. So we're doing different things.
So, do I hear you say that the Fix the Country will be raising funds for his legal team?
Yeah, we are doing that. Yes, we're raising money for his legal fees. Yes.
Grateful for listening, Nelson, a close colleague and associate of Oliver Baker-Vormawor, a convener of the Fix the Country movement. As you may know, this is one of those very hotly contested subjects. Each time it comes out, treason felony. What animal is that? Let's speak to lawyer Martin Kpebu, who joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. Kpebu, so treason felony, how serious a crime is that if you're convicted?
Boy, it's a first-degree felony, so it can carry up to life imprisonment. Yeah, up to life imprisonment. Yes, that's the maximum. So meaning that the judge could give 10, 15, or even maybe, so let's say 5. There's the maximum it will go to is life.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you would have seen the facts of the case. We're getting to know a bit more today in terms of what the police had laid before the court, including concluding that Oliver was arriving in Ghana to, as part of the efforts to carry out and execute his intention of overthrowing the Akufo-Addo government, and he's been charged with that. And we've seen the post that the police reference. If you look at all that, whatever we are learning today, what's your reaction to how this is unfolding?
Well, it shows a police service that didn't take their time to see exactly what they want to charge him with. Okay, they've been doing merry-go-round. They started with offensive conduct, and now they've ended at treason felony. You see? So it just doesn't bode well for our democracy. The police have really, really embarrassed us, from the way they denied him access to his lawyer. You remember Felicity mentioning it, a breach of Article 14.2, and further detaining him more than 48 hours before going to court against the Supreme Court decision. Can you imagine Chief Justice Ofoe Kufu, her dearest judgment that she's giving the people of Ghana, the 48-hour decision? That was her valedictory judgment. That means that as Chief Justice on the bench when she was leaving, that was the best she thought she could give Ghanaians. That people of Ghana, I'm giving you a decision that will make court services available 365 days a year. That is table number 4 versus Attorney General number 4. And the police have thrown this law to the dogs. I'm just imagining what CJ Ekufu will be feeling. That, this law, because she's crafted a beautiful law, and not only that, current Chief Justice Kwesi Eni-Yeboah rolled out implementation of the law, and we've been enjoying it. God bless Kwesi Eni-Yeboah. We've been going to court on Saturdays, public holidays, and so the same for Sunday. And yet the police have thrown this constitution to the dog, and they are telling us they are protecting the constitution. It's a mockery, complete mockery. And that is what we have to let the police service understand, that they are not bigger than the constitution. We all live under one constitution, and I will not take those breaches. Evans, I can tell you that in the last 2 weeks, I've seen about 4 cases like this, where police have detained people beyond 48 hours. They are breaching the constitution willy-nilly. We will not allow that to happen. The police are destroying the constitution.
In this
and
case,
that is what we must point out to them.
In this case, it's reported that, according to the police, that they had actually applied to the CJ for some expedited here over the weekend.
No, where is the evidence? The lawyers are not aware. Yesterday night, I was in contact with Justice Mensah. Look, when I did, the last one I did, the public holiday on 7th January, CJ gave a warrant. So on 7th January, which is a public holiday, we were in court to, apply for bail. And it worked. We were there the whole day. Justice Mensah, lawyer Kutampa and Co, they were not shown this evidence. I can mention that yesterday night, I was in contact with Justice Mensah, one of the lawyers, and the police hadn't showed them any such thing. Look, it's just an afterthought. It's only because we've been bashing them for throwing the constitution to the dogs. That's how come you can imagine they want to put the good name of the CJ into disrepute. No, I think the police shouldn't do that. They should just bear their shame alone. They shouldn't bring in the Chief Justice. That would be too bad. The man who rolled out the implementation of the law, today you are saying that he's the one denying court services. I don't believe so. Any day I will go with the Chief Justice. He rolled out the implementation of this law. 48 hours is 48 hours. Until I've seen concrete evidence, I will not believe the police. I will not prefer the police story to the Chief Justice's own track record. When he's shown that he's very much interested in ensuring that personal liberties are enjoyed. He did it. The Chief Justice rolled out the law with alacrity. He was happy to do it. I don't see any reason why he would not give a court on Saturday or Sunday.
And I know his lawyers are also not happy with the 2 weeks that he's been remanded in police custody. Is that standard practice in such a serious case which carries a life sentence?
Excellent. Now, Evans, that's the third major breach the police have suffered. Not suffered. They have inflicted. Yes, the word I'm looking for is inflicted. That's the third major breach they inflicted on Oliver by arraigning him in a court that doesn't have jurisdiction to grant bail. Evans, where is that from? Can you imagine? The Constitution says bring the man to court within 48 hours so that he can apply for bail. You keep him beyond 48 hours and take him to a court which cannot grant him bail. So what have you done? That is not a court for the purposes of the Article 14, Clause 3. Because 14, Clause 3 is that bring him to court within 48 hours so that he can apply for bail. So if you take him to a court where he cannot apply for bail, that is no court. You breach 14.3. It's just become a comedy of errors. Oh, God. Why do we have to suffer such embarrassment?
The facts of the case in the documents that the police filed, they end by saying investigations continue. I mean, safe to say that they needed him because of the seriousness of this crime and because of the concerns that he may be a flight risk, that he's kept in police custody.
Well, Evans, that's look, Oliver a flight risk. It beggars belief. Look, I thought we all agree that the statement was made whilst he was outside Ghana. And he flew into Ghana. He flew in because he had some engagement. You know, on the 16th, he's speaking at the Danish embassy. And then on the 17th, another speech at the European Union. So that's why he came. Where is the flight risk? Oliver is not running away. Then you don't know Oliver. From the little that I know about him, where is he going to run to? A student of Cambridge University, having worked at the UN too. And Evans, that's why it even troubles me. That by now, Cambridge University will be asking lawyers to give them an opinion what is happening to our students. So when the lawyers outline all these constitutional breaches, you see the embarrassment we will suffer. You see the embarrassment, then the UN. Oh, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. And you see that, Evans, to further show that this case is going nowhere, it's no case at all. You know his lead counsel, Evans,
yes.
Oliver's lead counsel.
Yes,
you know lawyer Akutampao.
Yes.
Our good senior lawyer Akutampao. And that's the president's own lawyer. Can you imagine? The president's own lawyer is defending Oliver. So I think the president's own lawyer, if he knew this is a real coup d'etat, he would go stand behind Oliver? No. So the police, I'm sure by now, they just be wondering what a mistake they've made. The president's own lawyer is lawyer for Oliver. So that tells you that the police just got their calculus wrong. Painfully wrong. Especially when from Saturday morning we started questioning that, hey, this will just grant this gentleman bail. Now the president's lawyer is defending him. You are putting even the president in a tight corner because he's beginning to look very farcical. The same lawyer Kuchampao will come and stand behind a coup maker, put his over how many decades of relationship with the president online.
And I must make a note of that point you make there. I mean, lawyer Kuchampao, the president himself, the likes of Yoni Kulendi, they sort of created a niche for themselves as those lawyers who fought for media freedoms. I mean, in fact, Kuchampao is very well known advocate for the passage of the right information. I mean, this area of defending freedom of speech is something that he's really cut for. And we were making the point earlier that the irony of this is that the lawyer Kuchampao is a man who the president owes a debt of gratitude to for his continuous stay in office, because of course he defended him at the Supreme Court, and yet he ends up defending the man accused of seeking to overthrow the president that he defended.
So you see, the police got their calculus wrong. It's looking very shameful. I think, look, they should just do the needful, rearrange him before the right court, and then maybe they can get some credibility back. There's always that opportunity, you know. Ghanaians we are all forgiving. If they do the right thing, we can, you know, put this behind us. But the way it's going is just becoming too farcical.
Martin Kwebu, thank you very much. And that is definitely one interesting point about this case to watch. The counsel, the lawyer, the lead counsel representing Martin Kwebu, happening to be the president's own lawyer. What do you make? How much do you read into that? 055-1111-997. News